So I just walked out of the bank. I got 10 rolls of dimes, 10 rolls of nickels, and this is going to be roll 5 of the dimes, so I'm going to be halfway through at this point. And if you can see there by the end, I think we've got a pretty old silver there. That is a very worn down gray rim. So let's see what we got here. Oh my God, it's a barber dime. No way, guys. I've never found a barber in circulation, and there's not even any other silvers in the roll. What? That's crazy. 1911 D mint mark. What a find, guys. I never thought I'd find a barber. I have friends that have found him. I've seen other YouTubers that have found him. And this is my first one. I think my oldest dime besides this was a 1917 Merc. That's unbelievable. All right, so I'm back at home now. I've got the nickels. I've gone through every roll except for these. I'm gonna go through these live, and I'll show you why in a minute. But let's take a look at that barber dime. We had 10 dime rolls, and we got the barber out of one of them, and this was the only silver that I found. So we got a 1911 D. It's got some nice like goldish toning to it. This thing is awesome. I've never found a barber. It is my oldest silver coin found coin roll hunting. I believe the 1917 Walker. I might have found a 1917 Merc too, so those are going to be my previous oldest, but this one takes the cake right there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I think we can even see, yeah, we can even see most of Liberty on the headband. Other than those like nicks on the face, and it's a little worn at the hairline. It's in pretty good shape. The reverse looks really nice. It's got a little scratch right there, unfortunately. You can see that mint mark nice and easy there. It's an awesome coin. I hope I can find more barbers. That was exciting. But let's get on to the other exciting things from that bank. So 6 of the rolls are going to have old Canadian enders. We got a King George right here. We've got a young head right here. Right here is going to be a 1960, so that's a young head. Young head. It might be 69 or 60. I'm not sure. That's another older one though. And we've got a 61 right here, so that's another young head. So we may have some full rolls of old Canadian nickels here, and I want to do these live just to see what we can find, because this is definitely a collection dump of some sort. I don't think there would be very good chances of just old nickel Canadian enders just randomly being on each of these. I think we might have some full rolls here. So I am going to, I'll probably start here, work my way down, and we'll see what we can find. I hope I can get something older than a King George even. I don't, you know, I'm not great with Canadian coinage. I know there was a king before King George. I don't know if that was like a younger portrait of King George or a different king, but hopefully we can find one of those. That would be sweet. We know we're definitely going to get some King George nickels in here, but let's get started. I'm going to do these all live, and we'll see what we can find. So I've got the first roll here. We're going to crack into it. See what we got on this side for an ender. It is going to be another young head. That's promising. Oh yeah, look at all those rims. These are all going to be older Canadians. So let's start going through them here. So we've got that young head that's going to be a 1960, 1962, 1960. There's a King George. Let's see how old this one is. 1942, 1962, 1961, 61, 62, 62, 62, 60. There's another King George. Now I believe since this one has the octagon type shape, I think it's going to be a newer one. I don't know exactly what years they made these with the King George, but I would imagine, I know I've seen some from like the late 40s and the early 50s, so it's got to be somewhere in there. Let's take a look. Yep, 1949, 1960 young head, 62 young head, 59 young head, 62 young head. I go through these a little quicker if they're all just young heads. 61, 61, 62, 60. That one's in good shape. Let me zoom in on that one and look at the obverse with you guys. Oh, so that is actually going to be a King George. I think 52 was the last year of the King Georges. And unfortunately, it's a little bit scuffed up on the front, but that almost has a proof look to it. That's a pretty sweet nickel. I'll have to look into it. I believe they, well, I know they make Canadian proofs. I just don't know. I don't think this is one, but it has a pretty uncirculated, like, very lustrous finish to it. So that is a beautiful nickel right there. 62 young head, 62 young head, 61 young head, 62, 61, 62, there's a 58, 62, I'm gonna zoom back out. This one looks really good too. Let's take a look at that one when we get to it. 60, 60, wow. Yeah, that's going to be another one in pretty amazing condition. Again, there's like little scratches on these, but these have a ton of luster and they almost look like proofs. That's going to be a 54, so a pretty early young head Canadian. That is, I believe, only the second year of that. If I got any Canadian viewers, I'm pretty sure looking at my analytics, I do. If you guys can give me any insight about this, if these are some kind of proof or just like a little more on the uncirculated side. Also, if there's any value to any of these. I don't know a ton about Canadian nickels. I know more about the Canadian silver. We've got a 56 there, 60, 62, 61, and 61. So I'm gonna roll this one back up, put it to the side. I'm definitely keeping all of these. I would say any of those like young head nickels are keeper worthy in my opinion. Again, I don't know if there's any value to them, but it's just like uncommon to find in the US for sure. So definitely gonna hold on to these. Again, if you are a Canadian viewer or you know more about Canadian coinage, feel free to let me know in the comments if I got anything good in there. I would assume it's not a ton of value, but still cool. But again, I'm not an expert, so let's get going on the second roll. This one's gonna be a KG Ender, pretty scratched up. Let's take a look at what we have. Pretty sure they have made silver 5-cent pieces in Canada. I think they were very old though, like 1800s. I think they called those the fish scales. So we've actually got, okay, this was actually, I believe, the Ender that we saw, which is, yep, 1950. If that was a US nickel, that would be a key date at least. If it had a D mint mark, or a semi-key, if it had a D mint mark, that would be a key date. Now we've got one of these round King Georges behind it, one of the older ones. It's a 42. I've got a 61 young head, 62 young head, 60, 62, 60, 61. Wow, look at that. We've got another very shiny, very lustrous one here. Unfortunately, they're like I've noticed on most of these, they're pretty scratched up. But still, I mean, just the shine for a coin that old is pretty crazy. Another thing, if I got any Canadians in here watching, if there's any like varieties I should be looking for on these, I know there's definitely some nickel varieties for Canadians. I just don't know them. But just look at all those edges. I mean, that's crazy. This one though is going to be a more modern one. That's actually going to be the more modern portrait of Queen Elizabeth. Not the most, but I don't know what this one's called. I know there's a young head. I don't really know what this one is called specifically, but we've got a 62 here, 62, 60, 60, 60, 60, 62, 60, 62, 62, 62, 61, 62, 60, 61. There's another newer one, 65. We've got another KG right here. Let's see what year that one is. Another 1950, 61, 62. I'm just gonna kind of speed through these more common ones. 61, 62, 62, 58, 62, 56, 62. Just dropped that 58. And then we've got a 60 and a 56. So that's roll 2. I think I am gonna lay all these out and do a wrap up at the end. I'm just getting them in their rolls so I don't get mixed up here. This is gonna be a lot of old Canadian nickels. I'll probably sort them by portraits and probably just put aside those in better condition. I don't wanna, probably wanna get those in a flip or in their own roll or something. So on to roll 3. I'm hoping there will be something crazy in here, but I'm good with finding what I've been finding. That's always exciting, getting a collection dump. Now this is actually one of the newer portraits of Queen Elizabeth. I know this portrait was used in the 90s. Yeah, I think they ended up switching the portrait in like the early 2000s, but that's probably gonna be from, I believe, the early 2000s to the 90s. And then on this side, we've got a young head. So kind of weird. I mean, the first couple rolls were mainly, well, it was all 60s and older, but this one is going to be a little bit newer. So I'm wondering what else is in this roll. Yep, that was not as smooth as I would have liked. So I am seeing, okay, there's a different rim in there, so that might be another kind of foreign or something else. Be cool if I could get some more nickels in here. So we've got an 85 here. That's a newer one already. 94, 59, another newer one here. 80, another newer one. 99, year I was born. We've got a King George here, 1949. 61, 62. There's another 99. 2001. See what portrait that is. Yeah, the same one as the Ender. 73, 60. Yeah, I'm wondering why there's newer ones mixed in here. We got 262s, 76. I believe that's an 88. 60. There's a 55. Haven't found that one yet. 58, or 88. 63, 79. There's all kinds of dates in this one. 2001, 2001. There's an older King George. Hopefully we can see 30s. Let's see, just a 41. Newer nickel there, 94. Got another young head. 61, 62, 64, 98. Yeah, that does not look very Canadian to me. Let's see what this one is. 1971 Trinidad and Tobago, 5 cents. That's pretty cool. At least that's a somewhat older coin. And I don't think I've ever found this form before, so that's awesome. 61, 2000, 87. Just dropped one here. That's a 65, 68, 2000. We've got another King George here, 46 on that one. And then we just got an 89 in 2001. All right, let's get those rolled up and move on to roll number 4. We're officially halfway through. I really like doing these live hunts. You guys will have to let me know if you're a fan of this. I only like to do it for the rolls that I know are probably going to be collection dumps. I don't want to be doing this for, you know, just any kind of box or anything, because all my videos would be like an hour long. I don't think you guys would want to sit through all that. Probably just want to see the highlights, but it's always exciting doing this. Got a young head on this side. This side's a little more modern, 1990. And I don't know if I've mentioned this in the intro, but I've never been to this bank before. I I was on my way somewhere and I just, you know, plugged in some banks on the way, and I went to this one, never gave it a chance. And I got 70 total dollars in coins, and I got a barber and a big Canadian collection dump here, so pretty awesome. 1960 on this one, 1990, 61, 73, 68, 73, 61, that's the newer one, 2000, 86, 60, that's gonna be a King George at 1950, awesome. 80, 60, 68, 86, 96, 83, that's pretty uncirculated. 2001, 86, 93, 74, 2000, 61, 98, 57, 96, 2001, 89, 61, dropped another one. All these 2001s look to be uncirculated. I wonder if those all came from a roll. Got a 79 here, another 2001, as I mentioned, 86, 62, 62, 81, 93, 2001, 83, 1960, Young Head, and we're gonna end it with a 1990. I'm not liking all these modern ones showing up. Kind of curious as to who this collector was and what they were going for. Obviously, they like the Canadian stuff. It's too bad I didn't get any dime rolls full of old Canadians. It would have been cool to get a big Canadian silver dump. All these are just going to be made out of primarily nickel, which is still cool, but that's another thing. I'll have to look at the melt value of these and see how much value I'm going to have there. This is going to be an older roll because we got a lot of those octagon edges. So we're probably going to get a lot of young heads and maybe some King Georges in here. We've got a young head there, 62, 60, 61, 62, 61, 59, 61. There's another one in good shape. Let's take a look at the year, 53. That's the first year of the young head. 61, 61, 61, another 61, 61, 61, 62, 1960, 61, it's a newer one, 72, 61, 59, 62, 62. That one's in pretty good shape as well. 1960 on that. 56, 61, 62, 56, 60, 56. Man, it's too bad. These are all like scuffed up really bad, but if it weren't for that, that would be in amazing shape. It's a 53 as well, first year of the young head. 62, 61, 62 is a 55, 61, 62, 61, 62, and a 61. All right, that's gonna be 5 rolls. Got one more to go. I'm hoping we can get a lot of King Georges in there because we have gotten primarily young heads, which I'm fine with. That's pretty awesome, but I love seeing the older ones coming out. Seems to be mostly a 60s collection dump with some some 50s, some 40s, and there are also some mixed in from the 70s and up. Got a young head on this side, a young head on this side. It might be an older roll again. Yep, I'm seeing a lot of these young heads coming out. Sorry about that. I was hoping to get one take on the opening of these, but I did have some background noise that happens. But I've got them all out of the roll here. This one's kind of intriguing with the blacker rim. I wonder if that one, I mean, it does have the octagon shape, so it can't be too old. Looks like we've got a full roll of older ones, though. It's probably all going to be mainly the young head portrait. We've got a 61 right here, 61, 60, 61, 56, 61, 62, 61, 61. That one's beat up pretty bad. Got the ring of death really, really bad on that. I've got a 62 here, 62, 62, 61, 62, 60. There's another one that's in pretty, you know, I wouldn't even say, I'd say the detail is pretty good, but just the scratches on these are horrible. I don't know why. Seems like a lot of the Canadian coins that I find for some reason are scratched really bad. Like sometimes they'll have like an X on the obverse or reverse. I don't know why that is. And they're scratched horribly. I don't know why. It's a pretty big bummer. See what I mean though? Like this one has the like X scratching on it. I see that a lot in collection dumps. I don't know why. But we've got a 60 there, 61, 62, 62. Here's another pretty good detail one. We've got a 54 right there, 55, 60, 62, 62. Here's another pretty decent one, 53, 59, 62, 62, 60, 62, 61, 62, 62. We're gonna get any King Georges in here. Let's see. 62, 62, 62, 62, 62, 62. Full roll of young heads, but I'll take that. So that is going to be a wrap on the live openings here. Unfortunately, there weren't more rolls full of these, but I'll take it. I'm happy with it. So I will put these back in the roll and get to you guys on the wrap up, showing you everything I found. That's going to be a wrap on this customer wrapped hunt. I was really happy to get my hands on a collection dump, even though it wasn't silver. It was still really cool to find. We got a lot of old Canadians here. So diving into the finds, we've got a whole pile of a little more modern Canadian nickels. These are going to range from 1965 all the way up to the early 2000s. We're going to have our young head hoard here. We're going to have 175 young head nickels. These are going to be ranging anywhere from 1953 up through 1964. And most of them are going to have this octagon shape. There are a few that are the more round ones though. I know the 64, I did have at least one 64 and there was the round shape, and some of the, I believe that's the only one. I think the 53 was octagon as well, and every year in between. So that was cool though. We've got a bunch of King Georges. I believe we're going to have 10. Let's just double check. 4, 6, 8, 10. Yep. So we'll go through the years quickly on these. We've got a 42, 1950, 46. See, these round ones are typically the older ones I've found. 41. I'll have to look into why they kept changing the shapes of these. Like I said, I'm not a pro on these Canadian coins. We got a 49 here. 1950. 42. Another 50. This is one of those ones that almost looks like it's like a proof. I found quite a few of the young heads like that. I put a couple of them on the ends there. But this one is going to be a 1952, so that was the last year of the King George portraits. Oops. And then we have got a 1949 here. So that's going to be it for the Canadian finds. I did get another foreign in one of those rolls. That's going to be a 1971 Trinidad and Tobago 5-cent piece. Pretty cool foreign there. I don't believe I've ever found one before. And can't forget the barber dime. This is definitely my favorite find of the hunt. I've been looking for one of these for a long time. And this one's in decent shape, 1911D. I hope I can get a barber half eventually. I've got a few friends that have found them. Haven't got one of those yet. I actually just got my first Walker, which was a pretty old one, 1917, so I was close, but it'd be cool to keep finding these. These are awesome. That's what every coin roll hunter dreams of finding, is early 1900s and 1800s silver. So thank you all for sticking around for this one. It may have been a lengthy video. Hopefully none of you guys got bored with seeing these old Canadians, but I thought it was really exciting for sure going through them. And as always, I'll be sure to film any potential collection dumps live just so you guys don't miss any of it. But thank you all for sticking around. I will be probably looking through some quarters next, and then I'll see if I can get some more $half-dollar bags. So we'll try to get some variety in here. I might even do some nickel boxes pretty soon. But stick around for sure. I've got some new videos that'll be coming out soon. And I hope everybody has a great week.